You spent decades building up this incredible expertise, and now you're finally channeling that wisdom into your own consulting practice. It's a really exciting new chapter, right? But with it comes a brand new challenge. How do you actually convince clients to say yes to the value you bring? Well, I'll tell you this. The answer is not a 20-page document showcasing everything you've ever done. It's actually the exact opposite. So today, we are going to dive into the surprising power of the one-page proposal. So let me ask you this. Have you ever spent days, maybe even a week, crafting what you thought was the perfect, super comprehensive 15-page proposal? You've packed it with case studies, methodologies, the works, and you send it off. And then you hear nothing, just crickets. It is so frustrating, especially when you know deep down you can solve their problem. Look, you're not alone in this, and I promise you the problem isn't your experience. It's the document itself. And here's the central paradox we're going to unpack today. That detailed proposal, the one you believe is showcasing just how thorough and expert you are, well, it's actually creating a barrier. You see, in today's world, a long proposal doesn't signal value. It signals work for the client. And if there's one thing busy executives are allergic to, it's unnecessary work. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to tackle the proposal paradox to really get why this is happening. Then we'll dig into the science of simplicity, the psychology behind it all. After that, we get to the good stuff, the solution, with the one-page blueprint and the two-step close. And finally, we'll wrap up by turning this whole thing into a concrete action plan you can use right away. All right, let's dive right into this paradox. It really feels like it should be the other way around, doesn't it? You have more experience, so you provide more detail, which should lead to more clients. But for some reason, it just doesn't work that way. We're going to see exactly why that long, thoughtful proposal you spent so much time on ends up at the bottom of the pile. Now, this isn't just a hunch or my opinion. The data is absolutely clear on this. Research from multiple proposal software platforms, they all show the same thing. Shorter proposals, and we're talking under 5 pages, consistently, and I mean significantly, outperform long ones. Most decision makers only spend a couple of minutes tops looking at a proposal. The takeaway is just undeniable. If you want to close the deal, you have to be brief. Okay, so we know that shorter is better. But why? Why does brevity win? Let's get into the actual science of simplicity, because understanding these hidden psychological forces is the real key to crafting a proposal that doesn't just get read, but gets an enthusiastic yes. This right here is so important. Your potential clients, especially the C-suite executives you're targeting, are literally drowning in information. They suffer from something called decision fatigue, and the research is pretty startling. When people are faced with a high cognitive load, they overwhelmingly default to the simplest, easiest to understand option. Your one-page proposal, it's that simple option. It's like a life raft in a sea of complexity. And here's a modern reality that's so easy to forget. Where are clients actually reading your proposal? Well, more than half the time, they're opening it for the first time on their phone. Maybe in between meetings, on the train, during a quick coffee break. Now imagine trying to pinch and zoom your way through a beautifully formatted 15-page PDF on that tiny screen. It's a nightmare. A one-pager, on the other hand, it's perfectly scannable. You've got a design for how people really work today. You might have heard of this famous study. Researchers set up a table at a grocery store offering jam samples. Sometimes they offered 24 different kinds of jam, and other times just 6. Now, the big table with 24 jams got more people to stop and look, but the small table with only 6 jams, it resulted in way more sales. It's a classic case of analysis paralysis. Your long proposal, with all its sections and options and details, is the table with 24 jams. It just gives the client too many things to think about, making it way easier to just do nothing at all. All right, that's enough about the problem. Let's start building the solution. We are moving to the blueprint. A winning one-page proposal has exactly 4 sections. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. This is the simple framework that's going to take you from a good conversation straight to a signed contract. And here they are. It's this simple. First, you state their problem, but in their language. Second, you clearly outline your approach and exactly what you're going to deliver. Third, you get rid of all the guesswork about the investment and the timeline. And finally, number 4, this is the step most people miss, you give them a clear, simple trigger to say yes. So let's break each of these down. Okay, just look at the difference here. On the left, the bad example is just generic consultant jargon. Honestly, it could be from anybody. But the good example on the right, That proves you were actually listening. It uses their specific pain point, cash flow swings, and presents a super concrete solution. This one little shift from focusing on you to focusing on them, it changes everything. Now, inside your approach section, there's a critical little component that acts as your shield. Think of it as your secret weapon against one of the biggest headaches for any consultant: scope creep. We all know what that is, right? That slow, painful expansion of a project that just eats away at your time and your profit. Well, here's how you stop it before it even starts. Whatever you do, don't bury your boundaries in a dense paragraph. Instead, create a separate, really visible key assumptions box. This isn't aggressive, not at all. It's professional. It shows you've done this before. It sets clear, simple expectations on things like how many revisions are included or when the proposal expires, which adds a nice bit of urgency. Trust me, this little box alone will save you from countless headaches down the road. So the client loves your one-pager. They say, "This is great, let's do it." What happens next? This is actually where a lot of deals stall out. You don't want to start working without a proper contract, but if you suddenly send a 20-page legal document, you can kill all the great momentum you just built. So let's look at the elegant solution, the two-step close. The real magic here is all in the sequence. The one-pager is built for speed. Its job is to get that emotional buy-in, that mental yes. It's easy to understand, easy to agree to. Once you have that commitment, then you send the full master agreement. By that point, it's not some scary document to be debated line by line. It's just a formality to be signed. You get the best of both worlds, speed and protection. So you've got the why and you've got the what. Now let's talk about the how. This part is all about putting the strategy into practice right away, and just as important, avoiding the common pitfalls that can trip you up when you're getting started. If you find yourself struggling to fit everything on one page, it's probably because you're trying to include things that just don't belong there. You have to remember, the proposal is for closing the deal, not for marketing yourself. They're already interested. Your bio, your case studies, that should have come up in an earlier conversation. The super detailed methodology, save that for the project kickoff. And all those extensive legal terms, they belong in the master agreement, not here. All right, let's be really direct about the common mistakes. First, one cage means one page. The second it spills over onto page 2, you lose the psychological advantage. Second, use a readable font. Your clients are likely your peers, so think 12-point, not 8-point. Third, do not forget that key assumptions box. It's your protection. And this last one is maybe the most important. Never, ever send this proposal cold. It's a confirmation of a great conversation you've already had. Okay, here is your immediate action plan. I want you to do this week. Create your own template based on those 4 sections. Don't overthink it, just get it done. Then, use it on your very next 3 opportunities and just see what happens. While you're at it, get your master agreement ready to go so step 2 of your close is seamless. And finally, track your results. The data is what will prove to you how powerful this really is. So let me ask you, are you ready to make it incredibly easy for clients to say yes? This approach isn't about diminishing your decades of experience. It's actually about honoring it by presenting your wisdom in a way that truly respects your client's time and gets you to the meaningful work you set out to do in this exciting new chapter of your career. And to help you put all of this into action immediately, I've put together a complete template for both the one-page proposal and a sample master services agreement. You can download them completely for free over at the Retirepreneur Hub. They're designed to help you build your consulting practice the right way, right from day one. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next explainer.